So in this lesson I'm going to teach you how to make the eggless cheesecake, and that's a very interesting thing to incorporate cheesecake and then eggless, and I thought it has to be a must, then it needs to be tried and then presented to you. So it's a pretty simple recipe, and then we're just going to have an amazing cheesecake as a result as well. So that's the cream cheese, and I have the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to beat the cream cheese together with the sugar and followed by all-purpose flour and then corn flour. So beat the cream cheese, sugar and all the dry together first, and then we have all the wet ingredients to go with, which is the milk, and then that's cream, and then that's curd and lime juice, and then the vanilla extract. So all the liquids will go in at the end, and then we have to beat them all together nicely, and we have the base done and kept here. The base biscuit layer is baked at 180 degrees for about 10 minutes, and this I have just kept it in another pan because cheesecakes have to be baked in water bath. So I'm just going to add boiling water into this pan, and with that it needs to get baked. Now if I'm going to add the boiling water right into this pan, I will not be able to hold this, so set the baking pan, into this is where the batter is going to go, into this is where the boiling water is going to go, and because we will not be able to touch and handle this after adding the boiling water, we need another tray in which we will just hold this to put it in the oven. So this part is ready and done. So the boiling water I will just get once the batter is all made. Just going to now start beating the cream cheese and the sugar. I'm just going to get the stand mixer, and then first add the cream cheese. Then I'm just going to beat the cream cheese and then make it light and not very lumpy, and to that I'm just going to add the sugar and beat for about a couple more minutes. You just see the cream cheese is quite smooth and non-lumpy at this stage. We just beat the cream cheese until it reaches here, and then add the sugar, and now beat this for about a minute or two on medium high speed. You just see the sugar is also incorporated now. Into that I'm going to add the flour, both the corn flour and the all-purpose flour. And then beat this just until it is incorporated. It's just about some 30 seconds that it took to incorporate the flour, the all-purpose flour and the corn flour, and then I'm just going to add, I have quite a list of the liquids. I have the curd, and then there's milk, there's cream, lime juice and vanilla. I'm just going to add one by one, and I don't want to add all of it together, otherwise it's going to take too much time to beat and incorporate. So I'll add one by one and then beat until I have each of them incorporated before adding the next one. So the curd just went in. Just want to show how it looks at the stage. I'm going to scrape down to the bottom of the bowl as well. Into that I'm going to add the milk. Just about 10 seconds for the milk also to get incorporated. So it looks like this after the milk, and then I'm just going to add the cream. It's going to add the lime juice and then the vanilla as well. So with that we've added in all the wet, and then just beat until everything comes together. So everything is being incorporated, and we have the final eggless cheesecake batter. So the final batter, it's a texture check. Just scrape down the bottom. I'm just going to add the batter on top of the biscuit crust that was baked and set. I'm just going to level the top. I'm just going to tap it down. Just don't want to leave any air bubbles, and now I just need to get some boiling water to pour it in here, because we have to have water bath to bake the cheesecake. So I have the jug here with the boiling water. It's quite hot. So now I have this tray. Like I said, I just need to lift it up to put it into the oven, and I'm just going to move this pan aside a bit and then pour the water into the other bigger pan to about a centimeter or about 2. You don't want it to reach all the way up above the level of the foil's height on the sides because you don't want the water seeping in through. So now this looks good, and now I'm going to bake this. So this is a bit temperature sensitive, and how long we are going to bake, that is also very important. So we'll start with baking. We have to bake it at high temperature initially. Start with baking at 180 degrees Celsius. So at this stage you want the oven to be preheating at 180 degrees Celsius, and then we pop this into the oven for about 20 minutes initially, and then just change the temperature from 180 to 140 degrees Celsius and continue to bake for about another 45 minutes. And then I'm just going to get back to show you what is doneness with cheesecake, because ideally we have been talking about the center not being jiggly, and if it is jiggly we have to put it back into the oven to bake further long. So we know the rest of the other cakes we are not going to take it out when the center is jiggly. However, with the cheesecake we have to remove it from the oven when the centermost part is still jiggly, and that is when we will have the best cheesecake. We don't want to over bake it. So stop at the 45 minutes of the 140 degree Celsius turn, and when you have the film formed on the top, so to the touch it's not going to stick to your hand, it's not wet batter, but the inside is jiggly. So when you just keep shaking up, you know the center is still wobbly, okay, jiggly or wobbly, whatever suits, for us to understand how that part of the stage looks like. So I'll get back. So the edges will still be firm, the center will be jiggly, and then I'll get back to show you how that looks. And now I'm going to put it in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes, and then drop the temperature to 140 degrees Celsius and bake for about 45 minutes, and then I'll get back to show how my cheesecake got baked. So the eggless cheesecake is out of the oven. I just wanted to show how it looks. You just shake and then you find the center jiggle. Okay, so and then the outside is all better crusted than the middle, and the middle also to the touch it is not sticky, but then you can see it is quite wobbly there. Okay, so if that is not jiggling, which means you have over baked it, and when you are going to slice through you will just have bits and pieces, and it's like powder, it's like crumbled will be the texture, which means it is over baked. Now you slice through, then you have a clean cut, and you see the texture on the side which is like nice and creamy. Then you have the nicely baked, the rightly baked cheesecake. And now there's that water bath there. It is actually hot for me to handle. I've just taken it out of the oven, and now I will allow this to cool down in room temperature until it comes down to complete room temperature. Like you touch on the sides, it has to be room temperature. After which that's going to take about an hour or two, and then cling wrap this entire thing and put it in the freezer overnight. A minimum of overnight will be so much better. Freezer is where water will turn into ice, so everything will be frozen, and that is where you will just place this. And I'll get back again tomorrow after doing that, because keeping in the freezer will just firm up the entire cheesecake, but putting in the fridge it could just set. But when you're going to remove this from the ring, it will still be soft on the edges and we will not be able to demold it. So I'll put it in the freezer overnight. I'll get back next day to show you how the cheesecake is baked, and we'll remove this out of the ring and show you how it looks. So the eggless cheesecake, New York cheesecake, has been freezing, and it's been out like about an hour. I'm just going to remove the foil. So try and see if I'm able to remove it out of the ring as well, because also the biscuit base will be stuck to the sides of the the stainless steel ring. So just go and I'm going to cut it through on the sides. I'm just going to push through, then remove. And so the New York cheesecake, the eggless version, is done and good. Now on top of this, we could add any flavor. It could be caramel, chocolate, or strawberry, or blueberry, and then it will be the strawberry flavored New York cheesecake. I have some strawberry compote with me that I'm just going to add on the top. Could just allow it to drip, or just load it on the top. So like every bite you have the flavor of strawberry. I'm just going to cut it through. I'm just going to go in almost more than half the way in through. And there you have a beautiful texture for the eggless New York cheesecake. And there we are at the end of the lesson with the strawberry topped eggless New York cheesecake.